What happens when a wealthy, reclusive man sets out to uncover his maid's hidden secret in Lee, to learn a truth that changes his life forever? Andrew Carter, a tech mogul in his early 40s, is the definition of success to the outside world. His name graces headlines, his company dominates the industry, and his mansion sits as a symbol of wealth and power. Yet, inside the sprawling estate, Andrew's life is far from fulfilling. Behind his meticulously polished image is a man haunted by grief and guilt, a burden he's carried since losing his younger sister, Sarah, in a tragic accident years ago. To cope, Andrew immersed himself in work, building an empire that left little room for personal connections. His home is stunning but devoid of life. The sound of clinking glasses at charity galas has replaced laughter, and his staff, though loyal, maintain a professional distance. Beneath his cold, composed demeanor lies a man who fears vulnerability and connection. In a vastly different part of town, Olivia Bennett, a single mother in her early 30s, is in a constant fight to make ends meet. Ever since her husband, Ryan, passed away 3 years ago, she's been juggling jobs to support her 9-year-old daughter, Lily. Life for Olivia is a patchwork of small victories and endless sacrifices. Her one driving force is her hope to create a better future for Lily, a bright and cheerful child who dreams of a life beyond the confines of their modest one-bedroom apartment. When Olivia hears about an opening for a housekeeping job at Andrew Carter's estate, she sees it as an opportunity to finally secure stability for her and Lily. Despite feeling intimidated by the grandeur of the mansion, Olivia attends the interview, dressed in her best thrift store attire and clutching her resume like a lifeline. The estate manager, Mr. Lawson, is an older man with a rigid demeanor and a critical eye. He evaluates Olivia with skepticism, warning her that the position demands perfection and leaves little room for error. Andrew himself barely spares her a glance during the brief meeting, his disinterest palpable. Olivia feels a mix of nerves and determination, knowing that failure isn't an option. For Lily's sake, she accepts the job, vowing to navigate the challenges ahead. Andrew Carter, a tech mogul in his early 40s, is the definition of success to the outside world. His name graces headlines, his company dominates the industry, and his mansion sits as a symbol of wealth and power. Yet, inside the sprawling estate, Andrew's life is far from fulfilling. Behind his meticulously polished image is a man haunted by grief and guilt, a burden he's carried since losing his younger sister, Sarah, in a tragic accident years ago. To cope, Andrew immersed himself in work, building an empire that left little room for personal connections. His home is stunning but devoid of life. The sound of clinking glasses at charity galas has replaced laughter, and his staff, though loyal, maintain a professional distance. Beneath his cold, composed demeanor lies a man who fears vulnerability and connection. In a vastly different part of town, Olivia Bennett, a single mother in her early 30s, is in a constant fight to make ends meet. Ever since her husband, Ryan, passed away 3 years ago, she's been juggling jobs to support her 9-year-old daughter, Lily. Life for Olivia is a patchwork of small victories and endless sacrifices. Her one driving force is her hope to create a better future for Lily, a bright and cheerful child who dreams of a life beyond the confines of their modest one-bedroom apartment. When Olivia hears about an opening for a housekeeping job at Andrew Carter's estate, she sees it as an opportunity to finally secure stability for her and Lily. Despite feeling intimidated by the grandeur of the mansion, Olivia attends the interview, dressed in her best thrift store attire and clutching her resume like a lifeline. The estate manager, Mr. Lawson, is an older man with a rigid demeanor and a critical eye. He evaluates Olivia with skepticism, warning her that the position demands perfection and leaves little room for error. Andrew himself barely spares her a glance during the brief meeting, his disinterest palpable. Olivia feels a mix of nerves and determination, knowing that failure isn't an option. For Lily's sake, she accepts the job, vowing to navigate the challenges ahead. As Olivia becomes more comfortable in her role, her daughter Lily's curiosity about the mansion grows. The stories Olivia shares about her work of grand hallways, sparkling chandeliers, and vast gardens capture Lily's imagination. Though Olivia warns her to stay away, Lily's adventurous spirit gets the better of her one Saturday afternoon. While Olivia is busy tidying the upstairs bedrooms, Lily sneaks onto the estate through a side gate left unlocked by the gardeners. She wanders through the garden, mesmerized by its beautifully blooming roses, the fountains sparkling in the sunlight, and the towering hedges that seem like something out of a fairy tale. As she turns a corner, she comes face to face with Andrew, who is walking his usual solitary path. Andrew's initial reaction is one of shock and irritation. He's unaccustomed to uninvited visitors, especially children. But before he can summon Mr. Lawson, Lily begins to chatter excitedly, oblivious to his stern demeanor. She tells him about how her mom works here and how she's always wanted to see the gardens. Her wide-eyed enthusiasm disarms Andrew, and for the first time in years, he feels something other than isolation and unexpected warmth. Andrew's interaction with Lily, though brief, leaves a lasting impression. Her innocence and unfiltered joy remind him of his sister Sarah, who once had the same boundless energy and curiosity. Against his usual instincts, Andrew doesn't report Lily's intrusion to Mr. Lawson. Instead, he allows her to stay a little longer, answering her endless stream of questions about the garden and the mansion. Meanwhile, Olivia discovers Lily's absence and panics. When she finally finds her daughter sitting on a stone bench beside Andrew, laughing and chatting as if they've known each other for years, her heart skips a beat. She hurries over, apologizing profusely to Andrew for the intrusion. To her surprise, Andrew doesn't chastise her. Instead, he simply nods and says, "She has an inquisitive mind." The encounter leaves Olivia both relieved and confused. Andrew's reaction is far from the cold indifference she's come to expect from him. Though hesitant, she starts to see a different side of Himon that isn't entirely defined by the emotional walls he's built. At the same time, Andrew begins to notice Olivia's unwavering dedication to her daughter. Her fierce protectiveness and willingness to sacrifice for Lily remind him of his own upbringing and the bond he shared with Sarah. Slowly, Andrew finds himself drawn into the orbit of Olivia and Lily. Even as he tries to keep his distance emotionally, Andrew's intrigue with Olivia and Lily grows as time passes, though he struggles to reconcile his curiosity with his instinct to remain detached. One afternoon, while Olivia is dusting the shelves in the mansion's vast library, Andrew walks in unexpectedly. Startled, Olivia immediately begins apologizing for being in his space, but Andrew waves her off. His eyes land on the same photograph Olivia had found weeks earlier, sitting on the desk. It's a picture of Andrew and Sarah, taken during a family trip to the countryside years ago. Andrew picks up the frame, his usually stoic face softening for a brief moment. Olivia, gathering her courage, asks cautiously, "She must have been important to you." Andrew doesn't respond immediately, his gaze fixed on the photo. Finally, he says, "She was my sister." His voice carries a weight of grief that Olivia recognizes all too well. Andrew's rare vulnerability stays with Olivia long after the moment passes. She senses that his pain is not just from losing his sister, but from something deeper, perhaps regret or guilt. The conversation sparks something in both of them. For Andrew, a small step toward confronting his past, and for Olivia, a growing desire to understand the man behind the guarded exterior. Meanwhile, Lily's vibrant presence begins to breathe life into the mansion in ways that surprise even Andrew. On another visit to the garden, Lily stumbles upon a dusty, forgotten piano in one of the unused sitting rooms. Unable to resist, she begins tapping the keys, creating a playful melody that echoes through the halls. Andrew hears the sound and follows it, finding Lily perched on the piano bench, her small fingers dancing clumsily across the keys. Instead of reprimanding her, Andrew sits beside her. For the first time in years, he places his hands on the piano and begins to play. His fingers glide effortlessly, filling the room with a soulful tune that seems to hold all the emotions he's kept bottled up. Lily watches in awe, and when he finishes, she exclaims, "You are amazing! Why don't you play more often?" Andrew doesn't answer, but Lily's innocent question stirs something inside him. The piano had once been Sarah's favorite instrument, and the memories it carries are bittersweet. Yet in that moment he feels an unexpected sense of healing, as if Lily's presence is helping him reclaim a part of. As the weeks go by, Andrew's connection to Lily and Olivia deepens in unexpected ways. One evening, while reviewing some papers in his study, Andrew hears raised voices coming from the servant quarters. Concerned but hesitant, he steps out to investigate and finds Mr. Lawson reprimanding Olivia harshly over a minor mistake, a misplaced vase in the sitting room. Olivia, though visibly upset, stands her ground, explaining that she had fixed the issue immediately. Before Mr. Lawson can escalate the situation further, Andrew intervenes, his voice calm but firm. "That's enough, Lawson. I think you've made your point." His rare act of standing up for someone catches both Olivia and Mr. Lawson off guard. For Olivia, it's a moment of vindication, and for Andrew, it's a subtle but significant shift in how he views his role in the household. The tension between Olivia and Mr. Lawson gradually gives way to an unexpected camaraderie when Olivia learns about his past. She discovers that Lawson, once a promising pianist, had abandoned his dreams to care for his family. The revelation adds another layer of complexity to the dynamics within the mansion, showing Olivia that even the strictest of individuals have their own struggles. As Olivia continues to uncover these hidden stories, she begins to feel more at home in the mansion. She notices Andrew's efforts to be more present, whether it's joining Lily for a game of chess or asking Olivia about her day. Yet, beneath these moments of warmth, a growing sense of mystery lingers. Olivia finds herself returning to the photograph of Andrew and his sister, wondering what truly happened to Sarah, and why her memory seems to cast such a long shadow over Andrew's life. One day, while organizing some old documents in Andrew's office, Olivia stumbles upon a letter tucked inside a leather-bound journal. The letter is addressed to Sarah but was never sent. Olivia hesitates but eventually places it back where she found it, her curiosity now stronger than ever. What secrets does this family hold? And how are they tied to the pain that Andrew carries so heavily? The inevitable confrontation occurs one chilly evening when Olivia and Andrew find themselves in the study alone. The mansion is unusually quiet, with the flickering light of the fireplace casting long shadows across the room. Olivia, holding the letter she found in Andrew's office, stands near the desk, her heart racing. She's gathered her courage to finally ask him about Sarah and the things she suspects he's been hiding. Andrew enters the room, his expression unreadable, but the moment he sees the letter in Olivia's hands, his face hardens. "Where did you find that?" he demands, his voice carrying a tremor of panic. Olivia, choosing her words carefully, replies, "I found it in your journal, a letter to your sister. It was never sent, was it?" The room grows tense, the air thick with unspoken emotions. Andrew's walls, which had been slowly eroding over the past few months, snap back into place. His posture stiffens, and for a moment he says nothing. Olivia, determined to understand the pain behind his coldness, takes a step closer. "What happened to her, Andrew?" she asks softly, her voice almost a whisper. For a long moment, Andrew remains silent. His gaze drifts to the fire, lost in memories. Finally, his voice breaks through the stillness. "I was supposed to protect her, Olivia. I promised I would always protect her, but I failed." Andrew's admission hangs heavy in the air, a truth so raw it feels almost suffocating. Olivia stands in stunned silence, unsure of how to respond. Slowly, she lowers herself into the chair by the fireplace, her heart aching for him. She had suspected that there was more to Andrew's grief than mere loss, but hearing it spoken aloud is a gut-wrenching revelation. He continues, his voice barely a whisper. "We were in a car accident when we were teenagers, Sarah and I. I was driving. I swerved to avoid a deer, and we crashed. She didn't survive. I thought I could save her, but I couldn't. I blamed myself every day since." The weight of his confession is palpable. Olivia watches him struggle, his fingers twitching as if he's still trying to hold on to something that will keep him from completely breaking down. Olivia's own heart fills with empathy as she realizes the depth of his pain. She knows what it's like to carry a heavy burden of guilt and grief, and she recognizes the toxic ways it can shape a person's life. Gently, she says, "Andrew, it wasn't your fault. You couldn't have known what would happen. You did the best you could." He shakes his head, visibly shaken. "But I wasn't there when she needed me most. I could have done more. I should have been there to protect her." As Andrew struggles with the weight of his guilt, Olivia finds herself reaching out in an instinctive gesture of comfort. She places a hand on his arm, careful not to intrude, but offering a quiet presence that speaks volumes. For a long time, Andrew doesn't acknowledge her touch. Instead, his eyes stay fixed on the fire, his thoughts racing. "It's not just the accident," Andrew admits, the words coming slowly, as if they're as difficult to voice as the pain he's carried for years. "It's that I let her down. We were so close, Olivia. She was the only person who truly understood me, and I never told her how much I loved her. His voice falters, thick with emotion, and for the first time in their interactions, Olivia sees him completely vulnerable. The cold exterior, the stoic businessman, all of it crumbles in the face of the raw grief that has defined his life for so long. Olivia's heart aches as she listens. She knows all too well the weight of unspoken words, of love left unexpressed, and how it can haunt someone for a lifetime. But she also understands the importance of healing, of letting go of the past to move forward. In a quiet but steady voice, she says, "Andrew, it's never too late to heal. It's never too late to forgive yourself." Andrew looks at her then, his expression a mixture of disbelief and gratitude. For a moment, it feels like the world stops around them. The space between them narrowing as their shared humanity brings them closer. The silence between them lingers, but it's not uncomfortably, rather. It's filled with the understanding of shared grief and the possibility of healing. Olivia stands up, her gaze soft but determined. "You've carried this burden for too long, Andrew, and you don't have to carry it alone anymore. Not with me. Not with anyone who cares about you." At her words, something in Andrew seems to snap, as though the last barrier protecting him from the flood of emotion he's been holding back has finally broken. His eyes glisten with unshed tears, and for the first time, he allows himself to feel the weight of everything he's lost, everything he's buried for so many years. He stands up abruptly, his breath coming in short bursts, and for a moment, it seems like he might walk away, retreat back into the safe haven of his solitude. But instead, he takes a step forward and pulls Olivia into an embrace, tentative at first, but then with increasing strength. In that moment, all of the years of isolation, regret, and pain melt away. Andrew finally lets go of the years of guilt that have kept him frozen. Olivia, too, feels a release, as if the shared weight of their unspoken histories has been lifted. They are no longer strangers caught in their own silences. They are two people, both wounded but both capable of healing. After a long moment, Andrew pulls back slightly, his eyes meeting Olivia's with an intensity she hasn't seen before. "Thank you," he whispers, his voice thick with emotion, "for not turning away, for seeing me, for who I really am." Olivia nods, her heart full. "You don't have to be perfect, Andrew. You just have to be you." In the days following the emotional breakthrough between Andrew and Olivia, something in the mansion shifts. The once cold, isolated halls seem to breathe with life again. Andrew's efforts to change are subtle but noticeable. He starts spending more time with Lily, engaging in playful activities like building Lego castles or reading stories by the fire. His stoic demeanor gradually melts into something softer, more approachable. He even begins asking Olivia about her life, about her son, and about the things that matter most to her. The change in Andrew is not just external. As he spends more time with Lily, he begins to reconnect with parts of himself he'd buried long ago. He starts to find solace in the simple moments like laughing with Lily over a silly game or helping her with her schoolwork. These moments, once foreign to him, become his new source of joy. Meanwhile, Olivia starts to see a shift in her own life as well. With Andrew's newfound warmth and support, she feels more confident. She starts to stand up for herself, no longer the timid woman she once was in the shadows of his mansion. Andrew, seeing her transformation, offers to help her secure a scholarship for her son Ethan so he can attend a prestigious school. Olivia is overwhelmed by the gesture, but Andrew insists it's the least he can do. Their shared experiences and emotional breakthroughs have drawn them closer, but here is still much to process. Olivia starts to realize that she's not just healing Andrew, she's healing herself as well. As weeks pass, Andrew and Olivia's relationship evolves. It's not romantic, at least not yet, but there is a quiet understanding between them. They've both experienced loss and grief, and now they're learning how to live with it, to live through it. For Andrew, this means acknowledging the pain of his past, but also looking toward the future with a sense of hope he hadn't felt in years. For Olivia, it means learning to trust, to believe that there is good in the world, and that she deserves happiness and peace. One day, while walking in the garden with Lily, Olivia notices a change in Andrew that fills her with both pride and relief. Andrew, once a man who shut himself off from the world, is now engaging with the people around him in a way that's genuine. He's asking questions, offering advice, and even more surprising, listening. Olivia watches him as he kneels beside Lily to teach her how to properly plant a flower. His tenderness is something she never expected to see, but it's a side of him that she now knows is real. The turning point comes when Andrew makes the decision to renovate the old, abandoned wing of the mansion. He plans to transform it into a space where children can come to learn, to grow, and to explore. It's his way of honoring his sister's memory and offering something positive to the world, a way of paying forward the kindness he's received. He asks Olivia to help with the project, knowing that her insight and experience with children will be invaluable. The decision to open up his past in such a public way is a monumental one for Andrew, and it's the final step in his healing process. In the days that follow Andrew's decision to renovate the mansion's abandoned wing, the transformation of the mansion becomes symbolic of the changes within him. The workers, led by Andrew's careful direction, start to bring life to the decaying structure. It is not just a renovation of the mansion, but of Andrew himself. As the construction progresses, he begins to open up more not only to Olivia and Lily, but to the world outside the walls of the mansion. His generosity reaches beyond his home, as he starts contributing to local charities and reaching out to community organizations. Olivia, too, becomes more involved. As she helps Andrew design the new learning center, she finds herself growing in confidence. Her involvement with the project becomes a catalyst for her own personal growth. She shares her knowledge and ideas freely, no longer afraid to assert her opinions. At the same time, she witnesses Andrew's continued transformation. His grief may never fully disappear, but his capacity for joy, empathy, and connection has expanded. One afternoon, while Olivia is helping to organize the space for the new center, she receives a phone call from Ethan's school. His scholarship application has been accepted, and he's been offered a spot at one of the best schools in the city. Olivia, overcome with emotion, hangs up the phone and tells Andrew the good news. "Thank you," she says quietly, her voice breaking. "You didn't have to do this for us, but you did." Andrew smiles softly, his eyes reflecting a warmth that wasn't there before. "You and Ethan deserve it, Olivia. You've both shown me what really matters." It's in these moments, where Andrew's actions speak louder than words, that Olivia begins to truly believe the transformation they've both gone through is not just a fleeting change, it's a deep, lasting shift. With Ethan's scholarship secured and the learning center nearing completion, the mansion is full of life in a way it never was before. There is laughter in the halls, purpose in the rooms, and a renewed sense of warmth that spreads throughout the estate. Andrew no longer feels the crushing loneliness he once did. He has found new meaning in his life, not just through the renovations and charitable work, but through the bonds he's built with those around him. Olivia, too, has found her place. She has learned to let go of her past fears, embracing the future with a sense of hope she had never thought possible. Her relationship with Andrew has become one of mutual respect and understanding, founded on shared experiences and emotional growth. They are no longer just employer and maid. They have become two people who have healed each other in ways they never expected. As the final touches are put on the learning center, Andrew hosts a gathering at the mansion to unveil the space to the community. It is a simple yet heartfelt event, attended by local families, educators, and supporters. During the gathering, Andrew gives a speech, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "After losing someone I loved, I thought I'd never be able to find peace," he says. "But sometimes the people we least expect, people like Olivia and Ethan, teach us that it's never too late to rebuild, to open our hearts, and to give. This center is not just a place of learning, it's a symbol of second chances." Olivia stands beside him, her heart full. She realizes that this place, this mansion, is no longer just a house of memories and regrets. It is a symbol of healing, of growth, and of the unspoken ties that bind us all. The gathering ends with laughter, conversation, and a sense of community. For the first time in years, the mansion is filled with life in a way Andrew never thought possible. And as the evening fades into night, Andrew and Olivia share a quiet moment together, reflecting on everything they've been through. "You've helped me more than you'll ever know," Andrew says softly. "I'll never be able to repay you for what you've done for me." Olivia smiles, her heart at peace. "You already have, Andrew. You already have." Months have passed since the learning center opened, and both Andrew and Olivia's lives have been transformed in ways neither of them could have imagined. The mansion, once a symbol of loneliness and loss for Andrew, is now full of purpose and joy. The rooms echo with laughter, the halls are alive with the sound of children learning, and the once cold, imposing structure now feels like a homey, a place where love and growth thrive. Andrew, who had once been a solitary figure, now hosts regular events at the mansion. He invites local families, children from the community, and the people who helped bring the learning center to life. It is clear that the mansion has become the heart of the community, a space for connection, healing, and growth. Andrew has finally found a way to move forward, honoring his sister's memory and giving back to the world in a way that feels truly meaningful. As for Olivia, she has moved into a new home, one she never expected to have. Andrew, in his quiet generosity, gifted her a house, providing her and Ethan with the stability they've longed for. Olivia still works at the Learning Center, now in a position where she helps guide the children who come to the space. She is no longer the timid, uncertain woman who once cleaned Andrew's mansion. She has found her strength, her voice, and her place in the world. One evening, as Olivia sits with Ethan in their new home, she reflects on everything that has transpired over the past several months. She realizes that Andrew's kindness has not only changed her life, but has also given her the chance to build a new future for herself and her son. The mansion, now a beacon of hope, has become a hub for the community. Children gather in the newly renovated Learning Center, eager to explore their creativity, learn new skills, and make lasting friendships. It's a place where dreams are nurtured and futures are shaped. Andrew often finds himself standing in the doorway, watching with pride as the children play, learn, and grow. His heart swells with a sense of fulfillment he never thought he would feel again. Olivia, too, finds herself feeling a deep sense of contentment. As she teaches the children in the Learning Center, she sees her own son, Ethan, thriving. He has found his place among the other children, and his academic potential is blossoming under the guidance of the center. Olivia knows this would never have been possible without Andrew's generosity. But she also understands that it's not just the material things that have changed her life. It's the emotional support, the sense of belonging, and the healing that has taken place. One day, as the children gather for a special event at the Learning Center, Andrew and Olivia share a quiet moment together. Andrew watches as Olivia helps Ethan and the other children prepare for the celebration, his heart full of gratitude for how far they've come. "You've created something truly special here, Olivia," Andrew says quietly. "I couldn't have done it without you." Olivia smiles, her eyes filled with warmth. "It's not just me, Andrew. It's all of us. This place, this community, it's something we built together." As the months continue to pass, Andrew's transformation becomes even more apparent. He is no longer the guarded man who once saw his wealth as a shield against the world. Instead, he has become a man who understands the true value of connection, of community, and of giving. He spends less time focused on the corporate world and more time fostering relationships with those who truly matter. Andrew often finds himself at the Learning Center, not just as its benefactor, but as an active participant in the children's lives. He attends their plays, helps with their projects, and even mentors the older students who are interested in business and entrepreneurship. The mansion has become a symbol of everything he now holds dear, a place of learning, of healing, and of new beginnings. Olivia, too, has flourished in her new role. She has become a beloved figure at the Learning Center, not only for her teaching abilities, but for her genuine care and love for the children she helps. Her confidence has soared, and she's become an advocate for the needs of the children in her community. She regularly speaks at local events, sharing her story of transformation and the power of second chances. In the evenings, Andrew often visits Olivia's new home, where he is welcomed by Ethan and Olivia with open arms. It's a family-like bond that has developed between the three of them, one that transcends the formal boundaries that once existed between them. Andrew has become an integral part of their lives, and in many ways, they have become the family he never had. In the final scene, the mansion stands as a testament to the incredible transformation that has taken place within its walls. The grand opening of the Learning Center has become an annual tradition, bringing together families, children, and community leaders who celebrate the impact of the space Andrew and Olivia built together. The mansion no longer feels empty. It feels alive, with every corner filled with memories of laughter, learning, and growth. Andrew, standing with Olivia and Ethan at the center of the gathering, reflects on the journey he's been on. The walls that once kept him isolated and distant have come down, replaced by genuine connections with the people around him. The loss he once thought he would never heal from has been softened by the love and kindness he's shared with others. He has come to understand that the greatest treasures in life are not the ones we accumulate, but the relationships we build and the lives we touch. As the evening winds down, Andrew stands outside, gazing up at the stars. Olivia joins him, and for a moment they stand together in silence, appreciating the peace that has settled over their lives. "This is just the beginning, isn't it?" Olivia says softly. Andrew nods, his eyes filled with a quiet optimism. "Yes, Olivia, it's just the beginning. We've built something special here, and together, we'll continue to build more." The camera pulls back as the two of them stand side by side, looking out over the mansion, the learning center, and the community they've helped create. It's a moment of quiet triumph, a reminder that it's never too late to start over, to find healing, and to make a difference in the lives of others.